Are there real skeletons in Disney Park? Is Walt Disney frozen below the park? We are about to uncover the dark and twisted secrets behind one of the world's most beloved entertainment empires, Disney. From hidden message in movies to disturbing allegation against the company's founder, Walt Disney himself. This is not your average fairy tale. If you don't know already, Disney is a massive media and entertainment conglomerate that has been around for a century. It has a rich history, having started as a small animation studio in the 20s and growing into a global empire that encompasses movies, television shows, theme parks, and merchandise. Disney creator is not other than Walt Disney. Walt was born on December 5, 1901, in Chicago, Illinois, United States, and died on December 15, 1966. You can just imagine the beliefs he had, since he was alive when the two big wars occurred. People believe that Walt was a Nazi and racist based on the movies he did. For example, Song of the South has been criticized for his characterized depiction of African Americans, and his portrayal of the antebellum South was a romanticized and idyllic setting. Other Disney films such as Peter Pan and The Jungle Book have been criticized for their portrayal of non-white characters as exotic or primitive, and for perpetuating harmful stereotypes about people of color. But a former worker of Walt has come to the public to say that he wasn't racist and never had any behavior that made him believed to be one. He says, however, that for that time there were many misconceptions and beliefs about non-white people because for that period there was a lot of racism. I think it's also important to point out at that time women didn't have any jobs and couldn't do anything. So as you can guess, when Mary Ford sent a request to work at Walt Disney Company, that wasn't well accepted since it was a man's only job. Dear Miss Ford, your letter of recent date has been received in the inking and painting department for reply. Women do not do any of the creative work in connection with preparing the cartoons for the screen, as that work is performed entirely by young men. For this reason, girls are not considered for the training school. The only work open to women consists of tracking the characters on clear celluloid sheets with India ink and filling the tracings on the reverse side with paint according to the directions. In order to apply for a position as inker or painter, it is necessary that one appear at a studio bringing samples of pen and ink and watercolor work. It would not be advisable to come to Hollywood with the above specifically in view, as there are really very few openings in comparison with the number of girls who apply. Yours very truly, Walt Disney Production Ltd. And also, one of the most significant criticisms of Disney is that it has perpetuated harmful gender stereotypes in its films, such as the portrayal of women as helpless and in need of male rescuers. But of course, over the years, Disney has tried to make people forget about the past and has tried making their products as inclusive as they can be. However, as you know, we all have a past and it cannot go away, but we sure can make it better. Disney has also been accused of unfair labor practice, particularly among its theme park employees. Many workers have spoken out about low wages, lack of benefits, and poor working conditions. In 2019, Disney settled with its workers in California, agreeing to pay $15 per hour by 2020 and $18 per hour by 2022. But some critics argue that these wages are still not enough to live on in some parts of the country. Additionally, the company has faced criticism for its aggressive marketing tactics and its impact on the environment, particularly in its theme parks and merchandise production. Moreover, Disney has been accused of outsourcing jobs to countries with lower labor standards, such as China and Bangladesh. This practice has been criticized for exploiting workers in other countries while taking jobs away from workers in the United States. Disney has also been criticized for its impact on the environment. The company's theme parks and merchandise production have a significant carbon footprint, and its expansion plans have raised concerns about the potential destruction of natural habitats and ecosystems. One of the most well-known controversies involves allegations of sexual harassment and abuse against former Disney executive Harvey Weinstein. Weinstein was fired from his position at Disney in 2005 after the company learned of his behavior, but some critics argue that the company did not do enough to address the issue at the time. Another controversy involves accusations of copyright infringement by Disney. In 2019, the company was sued by a company called Riordan LLC, which alleged that Disney had used this motion capture technology without permission in several of its films, including Avengers, Infinity War, and The Jungle Book. A fact that you probably already know is that in the movies, the characters don't have a mom, either that or they die in the beginning. There's speculation that it may be because Walt lost his mom when he bought her a house with his first paycheck. She complained that it was smelling gas, so Walt sent a Disney worker to her house to check it out, but the job wasn't done correctly and she sadly passed away, asphyxiated. How do you recover from that? Let's now talk about Disney, as you all know that it starts with Mickey Mouse. But while Mickey is perhaps the most famous character associated with Disney, he was not the first character created by Walt Disney. The first animated character to feature in a Disney production was Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, created in 1927. However, in a dispute over ownership of the character, Oswald was taken away from Disney and given to another studio. At the third, Walt Disney went on to create a new character, this time based on the mouse, and named him Mortimer Mouse. However, it was Disney wife Lillian who suggested the name Mickey Mouse, which became the iconic name of the character you know and love today. Mickey Mouse made his debut in the 1928 short film Steamboat Willie and quickly became a cultural phenomenon, starring in numerous films, television shows, and merchandise over the years. But I need to tell you that Mickey wasn't always this fun, happy, and a nice guy. Let's go to Disney Park, where I have some creepy stories to tell you. Starting strong with, did you know there is a rumor that Walt Disney is frozen below the ride of the Pirates of the Caribbean? It's said that it was his request to preserve his body, but I'll end the fun right here because its family came publicly to say that at that time freezing bodies was the thing that was talked about, and he didn't even hear of that and he was cremated. But it doesn't stop there. This same ride has a lot of stories, such as having a ghost, and possibly true human bones. Let's start with the ghost. There was a man called George that was building the ride, but he died while doing it. No one knows why, but workers say that at night they hear footsteps and sometimes they see it. This turned into workers having to say every night before closing, "Good night, George," and in the morning, "Good morning, George." It's said that if they don't do this, the ride will malfunction the next day. Let's talk about bones. Do you know the skeleton on the ride? Well, most of them a while ago were human bones. When people found out, they replaced them with plastic ones. But there is one left, the head on the headboard. You can see that is darker than the fake one on the bed. Creepy, right? But now, do you think that the only ghost going around on Disney is George? Well, I'm here to tell you that's a lie. When Walt Disney was alive, he had his room at the Disney Hotel. Everyone knew that he was there because he would turn on the light at the window. After he died, a cleaning lady came there and turned the light off, cleaning the room, and came back down. She looked back and the light was back on. She swore that she turned the light off. So she went back up and turned it off. And she did this. The light turned back on, alone, and she heard Walt Disney's voice. "I'm still here." So, after that light was never turned off as a reminder of Walt. After all that, you would think that's enough of that, people. But do you know that it's a big possibility that when you walk in the park you are stepping on dead people's ashes? I'm not joking. I wish I was. But truth is, there are a lot of people that after they pass away want their ashes thrown at specific places. Well, some of them want it at Disney. And if you got chills by watching this video, I bet you will find the same with this video about Area 51. I hope next time you go to Disney, you have this video in mind and you can say, "Now I know."